All right, and welcome back, boys and girls. So we're gonna talk today about the two-stage setup for the Extreme Wildman that I have built here. So I've gotten a lot of questions related to specifically how the interstage coupler on this rocket connects the boosters to the sustainer and how the staging is done with the electronics. So we're going to cover that stuff today and basically show you the anatomy of this rocket. So hopefully you guys can get a better understanding of how it works. So starting from left to right, on the left side here, the far left, this is the booster. This is the booster, and at the top you see the avionics bay sitting there. Now I don't have the upper bulkhead and stuff installed, but that is the avionics bay and the switch band for that. Next to it is the booster's payload bay and the interstage coupler at the top. Okay, and then over here on the right side we have the sustainer, and you can tell it's a sustainer by, you notice the fins are moved further forward on this one, and then the sustainer's payload bay and your nose cone on the right, on the far right. Okay, so the booster. Let's talk about the fin can. I'm going to show you guys this. At the bottom here, the booster has an Aeropack retainer on it, which is filthy right now, but there's a Aeropack bolt-on retainer on here that is bolted to the SC thrust plate. Okay, pretty standard. Above that is just a normal rocket with the avionics bay sitting on top. Okay, so here's our avionics bay and switch band. Okay, so then you'll notice in the avionics bay I have some small holes here. These holes are for shear pins, because in this lower section of the booster, that's where our drogue chute is going to be, and it'll be blown out by a charge from the avionics bay. Above that is this payload bay. Now, this payload bay does two jobs. It serves as not only our interstage coupler, but also the payload bay for our main parachute. Now, if you look inside of here, you see our three shear pin holes, one right there, one up there, and one here. You also see an anchor bolt installed in there, and that's for the shock cord. So our main chute is going to sit in here, and the shock cord is going to attach to that anchor bolt. That bulkhead is in place inside of the interstage coupler. So if you look inside here, this is the interstage coupler. I used a wooden bulkhead because wood tends to take heat and the blast from the motor a little bit better. And you can see down in here I have a bunch of high temp Proline epoxy in there, 4500. Now I haven't done it yet. I'm planning on doing it tonight, but I'm going to actually cover that entire bulkhead with Proline epoxy to help further protect that bulkhead. Okay, so this will then go on top here, and then the shear pins will hold that in place. Okay, so now the interstage coupler will slide into the back of this sustainer. So you'll see on my sustainer here, and it's very hard to see because I do have this Aeropack retainer crammed in here too. So this is a glue-on Aeropack retainer, but my rear centering ring here is all the way up here, right at the back of the fins. So I have plenty of room for this interstage coupler to, let me see if I can do this and hold the camera at the same time here, guys. So that I have plenty of room for this interstage coupler to slide into the back here. Okay, so it just slides right into the back. It's gonna be difficult. we go. It just slides right into the back there like that. Okay. Now, when the main engine ignites, it's going to push this. It's going to push this interstage coupler away, this whole section, and that's going to blow the booster off of the back of the rocket, off of the back of the sustainer. Now, one thing that you guys, it's going to be really hard for you guys to see. I'm going to try and show it to you, but let me see if I can get some light in there and show you guys. But there is a very small pipe. Let me see if I can get a flashlight. There is a very small pipe that I have inserted in the motor mount of the sustainer. Let's see here. Okay, you can see it back there. All right, so you see that pipe there? That is a piece of brake line tubing, and that runs all the way from the rear center ring all the way up to the just below the top of this sustainer. And what that allows me to do is feed my ignition wiring. You can see it there. I can feed my igniters down all the way through the back of the sustainer to ignite the main engine. So next we have our sustainer avionics bay. And you can see on the inside of the sustainer, I have those PIM nuts glued to the inside there. And then beyond that, this is otherwise a normal dual deployment rocket. You have our parachute that's going to be in the payload bay here. And the nose cone will be secured with shear pins here. You can see the anchor and the shear pin holes on the nose cone, okay? So that's pretty standard stuff there. And then the payload bay is screwed to the avionics bay using some Allen screws and those PIM nuts. So just like on our booster, the drogue chute will come out of the bottom section of the rocket, and then the main parachute will come out when the nose cone comes off. Okay, so that's how we do our staging, and that's how the rocket connects to one another. The cool thing about this kind of setup is I can go ahead and take this payload bay and avionics bay from this sustainer and stick it on this booster, and I have a full, complete rocket. And I can also do the exact same thing over here, and I have a full and complete rocket. Or I could even get a second nose cone and stick it on top of here, drill a couple of holes, and hold it on with a couple of plastic rivets, and then use it exactly how it's set up now, and have two complete rockets simultaneously. So she's kind of like Voltron. You can use either piece independently as a rocket, or you can link them together into one mega rocket. So she's a pretty cool rocket. Hopefully this video answers a few questions about exactly how the two-stage setup works. If you have more questions, put them in the comments or message me, and I will make another video to hopefully clarify anything that I didn't make clear in this video. Thank you guys so much for watching and for taking the time to like my videos and stuff like that. And hopefully I'll see you next time. Happy flying and be safe.